Good morning, and you're very welcome to this morning's live. I'm standing here in my kitchen because this morning I want to chat with you about choosing appliances. I think it's fair to say that we've all been spending an awful lot more time in our kitchens over the last couple of months, and our appliances have been put through their paces a little bit. So this morning I'm delighted to be joined by Cyril Mangan from KAL, the KAL Advisory Centre. So that's a fantastic venue, for anybody looking to choose appliances. They have such an amazing range. There's wonderful salespeople there with great knowledge. So really worth a visit, because there's absolutely nothing like being able to see the appliances firsthand, just to be able to test them out and compare as well. What the different appliances are like. Now, I myself did my own renovation and, spent a long time choosing the appliances. And I'd have to say that something I didn't even appreciate was how the differences within each of the different kind of appliances can have a massive impact on your day-to-day life. So for me, things like choosing quieter appliances, the different kind of appliances that I chose have made life simpler in certain circumstances. And just this is something that we're going to chat about, myself and Cyril, a little bit later on, just to help any of you who are looking to replace some of your appliances. And then I also know that so many people have been baking. Baking has nearly become a new hobby for many people over the last few months. So I'm delighted now that KAL have given us very kindly a fabulous KitchenAid mixer. So you can win that. There's details, I'll post it after this in our Instagram feed, and I'll also pop something up on stories as well, so that you can see how to enter. We'll be announcing the winners on Monday, so best of luck everybody, and get baking. So I'm just going to invite Cyril to join now. So we just wait for him to connect. Good morning,
Morning,
Cyril.
Denise. Good, how are you? Can you hear me?
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for, yes, perfectly.
Good,
Thanks
good.
so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Very good. Fabulous. So Cyril, I was just saying in the intro that, something when I renovated my own home and changed the appliances, that something I didn't really appreciate when choosing them was the impact they were going to have in a positive way on my day-to-day life. So things like self-cleaning ovens, and probably my favorite appliance in the whole kitchen, the steam oven, which I know we get asked, and we did get asked in the run up to this, an awful lot of questions
So
about.
I actually have
But just how that has simplified everything. Are we losing you? Trouble with Wi-Fi?
I'm not picking you up there, Denise.
Oh, can you?
So, hello?
Yeah, can you see me?
It's coming. Let me just try something here. I'm going to try another network.
Very good. No, Wi-Fi is an issue.
Have you got me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Why is this happening?
So, yeah, it could be an issue with the connection, Cyril, possibly. People saying they can see us both fine. Can everybody hear Cyril? Okay. Want to give us a thumbs up if you can hear.
I'm just going to try another network.
Okay.
No. I'm just trying another network, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I've got you clear now. The picture's a lot better as well, so it looks good.
No.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
I'm not actually.
Yeah, it's your connection is dropping a little bit. Possibly, do you want to go out, Cyril? Oh, that's a bit better. Okay, trouble with Wi-Fi. That's the problem with these lives. So we'll just give him a couple of seconds. Maybe he find a better location, and we can ask him to join in again. So yeah, just what I was saying there in the intro about the different kinds of appliances. So my absolute favorite, like if I had to say what was the number one thing that I'm most delighted about going for, it would have to be the steam oven. It's just, you know, the most fantastic appliance. Basically, anything that you can cook on the hob in a pot can be cooked in a steam oven. So everything from rice to any kind of vegetables, including, of course, meat and fish and anything else. So what it does is you can cook multiple things at the one time. You basically program into the appliance what you want to cook. So like Christmas time, for example, when you're doing potatoes, carrots, parsnips, whatever it might be, you program everything in, and then as the appliance is cooking, it will prompt you to put in the different things. And it's as quick to cook potatoes for two people as it is to cook potatoes for 25 people. But what you don't have is you don't have your kitchen filling up with steam. You don't have pots that you need to wash up. It's just so easy. You can actually go and do something else and just wait for the prompt. So that has simplified cooking and really made it so much less of a chore over the last while. So I can't recommend it enough. Now, with steam ovens, there are two different types that you can go for. So there's plumbed and non-plumbed. Um, I'd I'd highly recommend the plumbed because it means that you don't have to constantly refill it with water. But if you are considering a steam oven, it's really important to plan that nice and early because it's something that the builder is going to have to allow for. So not only will he have to include power, but he's going to have to include a water source as well. So that's going to be really difficult to retrofit if it's something that you decide, you know, later down the line. So most of these specialist appliances, it's really worth deciding early on so that your builder can plan in advance and then you won't incur any additional cost. So I think Cyril has just, let me just check if he's come back. So we'll just see if, there we go.
Sorry about that, Denise.
Oh, much better, Cyril. Much better. No problem at all.
The joys of Wi-Fi and multiple kids all draining it.
the, the poor kids, they always get the blame. No, no problem at all. Now, Sugar, I'm losing you a little bit there now, Cyril. Oh, there you are again. So can you hear me okay?
Hopefully, yeah, it's just stalling a little bit, but I've moved near the Wi-Fi box, so hopefully we'll keep going. So
very good, very
thanks
good.
for having me.
No, listen, absolute pleasure. And look, I think, you know, we got so many questions running up to this. There's so many people planning kitchen revamps. As I said in the intro, having spent so much time in their kitchen, a lot of their appliances have been put through their paces and maybe have served their purpose. So people looking to improve. And just what I mentioned myself, how choosing the right kind of version of appliance that you're going for can actually simplify your life. You know, for example, I think we spoke about it earlier, just the people replacing kitchens in an open plan area and thinking about noise and silent appliances. So that's something I'd really encourage people to think about. Like, what should they be looking for if that's what they're hoping to do?
I suppose the modern living is now, as I always say, the kitchen is an extension of the living room. It's what's happening now. So I suppose ultimately a lot of people living in a larger area doing different things. So one of the key things is quietness. Appliances need to be quieter now. Your extractor needs to be quieter when it's on. Your washing machine, the fridge needs to be quieter when it's running. Also things like the dishwasher as well. Factor in Is this happening? So choosing a quiet dishwasher would be very important, because obviously if the kid was looking at telly or something like that, you don't want the noise of the dishwasher. And the other thing to consider as when you're doing it is things like what do you cook, or how much cooking do you I really apologize about this.
Yeah, it's cutting in. No problem at all. No problem at all.
Yeah, and
Sugar keeps cutting in and out. Jeepers, Cyril, if it wasn't such a miserable day, I'm sure. Oh, he's gone again. Well, we'll just wait for him to come back. So basically, if you are looking to get a quiet appliance, and I think Cyril just mentioned there the dishwasher, which is really critical. And I know our dishwasher is here in our open plan space as well. There are decibel ratings. So if you're looking, just speak to the sales assistant about the different decibel ratings. And, you know, the silent, what are called silent appliances will be more expensive. But seriously, if you are thinking about putting them in an open plan space, it really is worth the investment. So I think it's, and Cyril will correct me, I just see him trying again. I think it's a rating of 45 decibels is what you want to go for if you want something quiet. So I'm just going to see if this works again now. Let's see, apologies everybody for this with the Wi-Fi, but it is a problem, unfortunately. There we go, you're on the move, Cyril. Very good.
No, I've switched it to my phone.
Oh, very good. Yeah, the phone for some reason seems to work the best. So yes, well, you're loud and clear, and hopefully now you're comfortable. So thank you.
Okay, I've abandoned the technologies there, the AirPods and stuff and that. So we're back on my phone. So hopefully it'll be okay from now on in.
It's perfect. It's wonderful. Yes, thanks, Cyril.
So I don't know how much you got there. I was saying about how noise levels is so important in an open room, because everybody's living there. They're all trying to do their stuff together. So that would be one of the primary objectives. So in choosing something like your extractor, again, it's so important in an open room that you're shifting those odors and smells through. And you want to do that as quietly as possible. And I'd say a lot of people kind of overlook an extractor when they're designing the kitchen, that some people actually choose the design over the function of it. So what you should really do is try and calculate the airflow of the room. A good kitchen designer will be able to assist you in this, that you calculate the airflow required to shift the air in a reasonable amount of time. And you want to do that as quietly as possible, effectively, you know. So that would be one of your first stopping points in your journey to your kitchen. And then obviously the other thing that goes quite a lot, as you said, there was a lot of testing done with appliances during lockdown, is the dishwasher. I found ours was going twice a day.
Definitely.
So you want a nice quiet dishwasher as well. So that's kind of key, to look for the performance level of the dishwasher. And sometimes be looking for that maybe over the number of programs, because while dishwashers may have 9-10 programs, you tend to use the same tool all the time.
Sure.
But wouldn't it be nice to have those running quietly in the background? So just to kind of take that more into account when you're designing.
Brilliant, Cyril. And how would people know, other than of course ask the sales assistant, but if they are looking, is it the decibel rating that they should look for on these appliances?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, there's a product fiche. If you're actually online, everything now has this thing called a product fiche, and it goes from an A rating down, like an A plus 20%, and then it works its way backwards. And then a good silent dishwasher would be coming in about 42 decibel levels, or thereabouts, you know, and you generally would only hear a light humming noise in the background. And like that too, Denise, with an extractor, decibel levels would go up to maybe about 62, 63 decibel levels. But again, what you're doing is you're comparing the noise to the extraction rate. So a really good hood could be working on a lower decibel level, as in a lower speed, but yet extracting more. So kind of you need to take that into account too.
Okay, fantastic. No, that's really good. And just on extractors, Cyril,
is it true that they need to be near a window, like just to get the best functionality? What should people be thinking about?
Not really, yeah. So I suppose an extractor is a mechanism to shift air out of the room. So basically what it is blades propelling, and it's just causing a movement. And to assist in that movement of air, you need a flow coming in. So if you had a sealed passive house, which tends to be the norm in a new build now, what happens is you might get a reduction in air in capacity through the hood because it's not drawing air in. So sometimes you might have to leave a window slightly ajar, or you know the way you can have a little setting on a window where you open the vents. And what that does is allows the air to come in, and it creates a draw with the hood to work. So it doesn't necessarily have to be near the window. More and more hobs they're now going, or sorry, I should say extractors are going over island units. And as well, what we see is a trend that they're moving to include them into the hob. Where we do a range from Elica called the Nikola Tesla, and it extracts downwards, and that is fast becoming the hero product at the moment.
Fabulous. And actually, because I've seen them myself. They look fantastic. They minimize, having to break up, particularly if it's in an island setting, your lovely view. And I just see somebody saying there, how effective are they, the downdraft extractors?
They're really, really effective. I suppose the first thing is, and they pull the steam down, they pull the moisture down, but they're in the center of the hob, so they're the closest to it. Great. And it kind of defies gravity because steam naturally rises, and you see this thing pulling it down. But it's so close to the pot that it does catch it, and it catches it in what they call a kind of a centrifugal force. So it cuts it in a swirl, and it actually draws it down in through the hob unit as well. I would highly recommend, if somebody was designing a new kitchen with an island unit or an island and putting the hob in the island, definitely to look to one of these before going for a ceiling mounted hood. Because the other thing as well is that when the steam leaves the pot, it has to travel. It naturally rises, but at some stage it has to catch the ceiling, and ceilings tend to be a little bit higher. So if there was a window or door open, it can distract the steam flow, and it could go adrift from the hood. Yeah. Whereas with the downdraft or the Nikola Tesla, it just pulls it down through. And it's so easy to keep clean. It looks so well. It really is. It's a winner all around. And Denise, you can actually duct them out, or you can recirculate them. So again, if somebody has a passive house, it comes with a filter. And what you do is the filter can last up to 5 years, depending on the model you choose. And you simply put the filter into the oven, you bake it, and then put it back in, and it's good for another couple of months. Perfect. Or if you need to duct, you can actually have provisions in your in the extension or in the foundation of the house to duct the steam out if you wish. But definitely anybody looking at doing a new build, look at these guys. And against the wall as well, because some people could have have the hob in front of the window, you can be looking at the kids out the back or taking in the view while you're stirring your pasta or whatever you're at.
No, fantastic. Okay, great. And then just hopping back to the noise issue, and I know myself, like one of the noisiest things, particularly in an open plan setting, is a kettle running. So yes. For me, changing, and I know for you were telling me, changing to a hot water tap has just been amazing. Like, it's fantastic.
Yeah, so I took the plunge there a couple of weeks ago, and I invested in a Frankie Omni 4-in-1 tap, which is basically, I have my regular hot, my regular cold mains water, and then what I have is 100-degree boiling water, and I also have filtered drinking water. And again, it's one of those, it's a game changer. We're living I'm actually in the kitchen at the moment, in a big living open plan area, and the noise of the kettle is ferocious actually when you hear it. Yeah. But that's just one element. But now we've no kettle on the countertop. We have the 100-degree boiling water. Making a cup of tea is just so simple. Boiling an egg is half the time. If you're prepping vegetables or whatever, you're using the boiling water into it, or even just scalding a cloth, or there was a thing there, pasta bake that was baked into the dishes. Just put the dish into the sink, turned the boiling water onto it, and left it there for 2 minutes, and it just cleared it off before I put it into the dishwasher. Yeah. It's invaluable.
Yeah. No, it is amazing. It is amazing, and it's expensive to boil a kettle. So if you're boiling the kettle, it's an
And how many
expensive.
times do you boil it?
That's
Like you
right.
flick the
Yeah.
switch a couple of times,
Yeah.
and actually, and I even said, and I know we're in the midst of a summer. One of my kids filled a hot water bottle the other night just from the tap,
Yeah.
the boiling
Yeah.
tap as well.
Yeah.
So no, it's really really good,
Yeah.
and it's and I notice people looking at it when they come in when we're making tea and stuff like that, and yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
And the mechanism itself, there's two. Price wise, actually, the Omni is retailing at 1400. So for that, I get my 100-degree boiling water, and then I also get my filtered drinking water as well. So it's well priced. And there's this feature in it called M-Box. I won't talk too much about it, but if you wanted to, you can actually, as opposed to, you can run the tank. You can bypass your hot cylinder upstairs, so you can take your water directly from the tank underneath. So if somebody had a large house or something where it takes a minute or two from the hot water to come from the tank, the regular hot water to come from the tank upstairs, by using the M-Box, as soon as you turn the hot water on, you get 65-degree water within 2 seconds, which is really, really good.
It is amazing,
So there's other little variations around it. So it's a very technical product, and it sits neatly in underneath the sink unit as well. And then we do have one that just gives you the boiling water, no filtered water, and that's €1,100 for Minerva.
Okay.
So again,
Fantastic.
that's good.
Yeah. No, they are fabulous. And I, as you say, I mean, it just means, particularly if people are short on space, you're doing away with that one appliance, which is great. And then if people like filtered water, having that combined function is just fantastic. So
yeah, and
really,
it's
really
just
good.
all there in one setting. And do you know something, Denise? I should say I've young kids as well. It's safe.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you have to push it down and push it back, and as soon as you let it go, it stops. So I've young kids, and sure, they won't go near the sink anyway, so it's not really a problem.
Exactly, but it is very safe to use because they have safety mechanisms. I know the one I have, it's actually quite, it'd be very tricky for a child to use, and the tap for regular water is separate anyway. So
and actually the other thing that I just found when we did fit it, because I'm left-handed, you can actually turn it around, so if you're right or left-handed, so you can adjust it. You can adjust the whole tap, whichever best suits you, because there is a little bit of pressure when you're turning on that hot water, so it accommodates that as well. So that's
great to know. Yeah, fabulous. Okay, wonderful. And sorry, price range again then, Cyril, for those really.
The Omni actually came down in price, so it's $13.99 for the 4-in-1, and I think $11.50 then for the Minerva. And again, Denise, all these products are available to see in our showrooms in City West. We have I think it's a 12,000 square foot showrooms. It's fully opened. Customers are more than welcome, and we have all the COVID operations in place to ensure that you have a safe visit to our showrooms. So again, it'd be a worthwhile visit if you were planning your kitchen, because we have everything in there. As we discussed, we have the hoods in there. We have the sinks themselves. There's so many different types of sinks, colored, ceramic, stainless steel. We have all the different taps. You can get just standard taps, but different styles, waste disposal units, and then obviously the various ranges of appliances as well.
Fabulous. And I see somebody has an appointment on Monday afternoon, so that's brilliant. It really is. It's the most wonderful facility that you have. And I think just being able to see and compare, side by side, because it's very difficult if you're looking online or in a catalogue, but to just see and see how they, particularly things like sinks and taps, because they're often an afterthought, but they can, set the tone of the kitchen. So, fantastic facility.
Absolutely. And sorry, I just see someone there asking about the boiling water. Omni, does it use filtered water? You can filter the mains water, and in actual fact, you can, if you go onto the website, you can actually get different filters for different requirements, because that person there is saying they have a lot of lime scale. So you can nearly tailor your tap to the water that's in the area. So there's different filters that are available as well. So that's that one there. And so what you were saying is, like, again, when you look at a sink and a tap, there's kind of standard sinks, inset sinks. But maybe if somebody's not going for granite, they don't want to spend the money on stone worktops or whatever, and they're going for a laminate, you can get really nice sinks now that make the laminate worktop look stunning. There's ones that just inset, so it actually almost makes it look like granite, because there's no drainer on them. Fantastic. And they're kind of bigger bowls. And what we see is a lot of people running around our showrooms with grill trays in their hand, trying to fit them into the sinks. So there's such a variety of sinks there to see as well. So
it's great. And actually, somebody asking about a white ceramic hob, a recommendation for white ceramic going into a timber worktop. What brand would you recommend they look at?
Yeah, so I didn't see that. So in again, the Frankie one, the ceramic sinks are Villa and Boch. They're manufactured by that company. You can inset them or you can undermount them. And I imagine this particular person is probably going to undermount them into the timber worktop. But you can actually flush mount it. So what you don't have is the thickness of the worktop and then the sink underneath it, because sometimes the grain on the wood can get a little bit dirty and
with the water,
there's glues and stuff on it. Yeah, exactly. So if you just bring the sink up flush to the worktop level, it's a nice finish on it. Or listen, they could just simply put an overmounted ceramic sink into the wooden worktop as well, you know. So there's kind of options there. But a lot of people would flute the worktop up to the sink and have an undermounted Belfast style sink. Or you can actually get an undermounted ceramic sink that would go into a stone worktop as well. So little harder to maintain. I have one myself, to tell you the truth. So ceramic, it shines. It's lovely. Pots, it's a little harder to keep clean, and it's a very it's a hard material. So if you drop a glass into it, it's the glass that'll break. So you need to be a little bit more careful. But it stands the test of time, and it looks really, really well.
Brilliant. Okay. And then another question just about the extractors, Bora versus Elica. Which brand would you guys recommend?
Well, look, as I said to someone before, in fairness, Bora invented the concept and Elica just perfected it, is the answer that I'll give you there. But, you know, in truth, the Bora is a very formidable brand. With the Elica, you know, there's different price ranges. The price points go from €1,800 and right up to about 3,500 for a model called the Switch. And in my view, the Switch is probably the most stunning of that on the market at the moment. And what it actually does is, it's hard to describe, it's a disc that sits in the center of the hob and the disc pivots from left to right. So if you move it towards the hob you're working on, it condenses the air and it becomes more powerful. So you can actually even make the hob more powerful. So if you were doing something like steak, which is very hot, a lot of smoke or whatever, you can pivot it towards the that side of the hob and it'll become even more powerful. So it allows you to push the extraction from side to side. Wow. And as well as that, it just looks stunning. It's a stunning hob. So definitely check it out. And they would be of similar extraction rates with the Bora, but the assistance of being able to direct the flow probably gives it a little bit of an edge on the standard Boras. But again, there's one there for 1,800, the Nikola Tesla Prime, it's called €1,800. So it's kind of, you know, €1,000 cheaper. So it's on the budget side of the price. But again, it's a real performer. It's a good worker in a kitchen. But it could allow somebody to achieve something that they didn't think they could actually achieve. While it also works as well, you know, it works very well.
Great. Okay, fantastic. Brilliant. And then I see a great question, actually, and one that we come up against all the time. Hob or sink on the island if you have a choice. And I guess what I'd say, Cyril, is ideally the hob, because, well, it sort of depends on the hob that you're going for. So if you are going for an induction hob, I would say definitely go with the hob versus the sink on the island, just because you'll have that cleaner look when you're not using it. But then if it's gas or something, maybe the sink is a little bit better because, you know, the gas is a more cumbersome sort of appliance.
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit of swings and roundabouts. I suppose it's kind of what suits the family as well. Again, in my own situation, we actually have the sink on the island, and we have an eating area kind of just down from that on the island that we do our informal eating 7 days a week on. And sometimes I do notice that, you know, when you're cooking up a meal and you're kind of finished and you're getting ready to eat, you throw everything into the sink. And so we're kind of sitting there and you're looking down at the sink and it's full of pots and dishes and stuff like that from the baking. Whereas if it was the hob there, it would probably be cleaner because all the stuff would be over on the sink. But I think the introduction of that Nikola Tesla hood again allows you, because some people they didn't necessarily want a hood or something like that on the wall because they didn't want any wall units or something. So putting a Nikola Tesla, again, a wall with no wall units above it is now possible, or again, a window. So it really throws it up on the head. So I suppose there's no wrong way to do it. There's no right way to do it. It's kind of what works for the family. But I just personally find that we tend to throw everything into it, and then into the sink and sit down, and you're just looking down at this. So I'd probably prefer the hob in it now.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, if you are going with the induction hob, like, it is just such a clean finish, so you practically wouldn't even notice it there on the island. So it's a great one to
like a
think
sheet
about.
of glass. And
Yeah.
and again, I suppose we have to remember that when we're talking about induction and all these combi ovens and stuff, there's people out there that are getting a new kitchen that probably necessarily haven't purchased a kitchen for maybe 10 or 15 years. So they're saying, I don't what's induction, So in induction, I suppose, is the next level of the ceramic hob. And I suppose in a practical point of view, if you boil a pint of water on a regular ceramic hob, it probably takes about 6 minutes to boil, whereas on an induction, the process takes about 1 minute just to boil. So it's a very efficient way of cooking on your hob top. And it's very speedy, but it also is very good for controlling temperatures when you're cooking. So if you're doing a reduction like a sauce or something like that, you want to simmer it. If you have a traditional ceramic hob and you turn it down, you literally have to move the pot to the side. Whereas with an induction, you can leave the pot on it because the heat goes out of it straight away. And if you have it at a setting of 2 or 3, it's just keeping the heat in, allowing you to do the reduction on that. So the two advantages of the induction are the speed of it, but also the controllability of it as well, which is really, really good. And again, if somebody's starting out on their kitchen journey, definitely look at induction. I think the old favorite used to be, and used to see it years ago with the chefs, was gas. Gas. Whereas now, if you look at modern cookery programs, they all tend to be induction. And I, for one, would 100% endorse induction. And do you know something, Denise? If it was a case that you didn't want to get the boiling top for whatever reason, you could then get an induction kettle, and you can actually use it on your hob top because it's as quick as a kettle to plug in. So and it's nice. It's and a whistling kettle, obviously, so you'd know when it's cooked or boiling.
Yes, yeah. No, it's fascinating. Like, I used gas and would only use gas for years, and changed a few years ago, and I would never go back. Like, it's so clean, it's so easy. I think that was the most frustrating thing, was trying to clean the gas hob. But this is just super clean, and I do find that with being able to control the heat, it's as easy to control it as gas. It's really, really great appliance. Yeah.
And it's safe with kids because you have to remember the way an induction works, believe it or not, is it's by magnetic coil. You need special pots. That's not an issue. In actual fact, we do Whirlpool, and they give you free pots with it now. I think it's about $2.99. I think they retail it. But if there's no pot on it, the hob won't work. So in actual fact, in my own instance, I actually put one into my mother, who's my mother's home. She's quite elderly. And the reason I did is that she used to have a habit of leaving pots. She lives on her own, and the pots on the hob left on and burning them. But if the pot's not on it, it won't. You can't leave on the hob. Automatically turns off.
Brilliant. Okay,
fabulous. So from a safety point of view, they're well worth it.
Great. Okay, no, that's wonderful. Brilliant. And then we had a great question, just somebody asking us about they're doing up their kitchen and they're deliberating between the new modern ovens and an AGA, and just wondering, what to go for. Now, I know my mum has an AGA, loves AGAs, but what I went for was like an oven, a steam oven, and then a warming drawer. And it gives me all the same sort of functionality in a way, but just you have everything up at eye level. So what are your thoughts? Because I know you guys stock everything.
Yeah, so I suppose I grew up on a farm. We had an AGA growing up. It worked as hard as my mother did in the house, and as hard as my father did out on the farm. It was the center of everything in our house, an AGA. it probably kept the house warm. It was the most important thing. There was a rack over it for airing clothes and things like that. But it was always on. It was always there. Casseroles were going into it. Cakes were coming out of it. Soup was being made on it. So it was just, as I said, it was the centre of everything when it was kind of being reared, and it gave the heat. The cooking results from an aga are fabulous because of the cast iron nature and the heat that's in it. You know, it's hard to get anything to taste as good as an aga. And if you jump forward, that I built my own house and I moved in and I didn't get an aga. I looked at it, but I just felt for both myself and my wife work remotely. I work remotely, so we found that maybe there's no one in the house much during the day. The house we have is a passive house, so it's very airtight, so heat wasn't an issue for it. And I just felt for the investment, we wouldn't have got the use out of the aga. And also, I too, like yourself, I like the idea of having an oven up at eye level, because I'm getting older, not younger, so things are starting to go wrong at the back and things like that. It's very accessible. And I like the functions inside the oven. Like we went with a PyroClean oven, the Dietrich PyroClean oven. So you just turn it to a setting and it just incinerates everything inside it.
Fabulous.
And we literally hoover it out. That's what we do. And then we have a combi microwave, and you can cook a chicken in there in about 40 minutes. So whoever gets in first at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening can literally have a dinner for 5 cooked by about 6:30 or so. And then for reheating and stuff like that. And again, the other thing was the induction. I have the induction as well, and just the speed and the performance of that. So I'm not taking away from the aga. Like the aga has been around 60, 70 years. It really is a masterpiece. But for me and my choices, I preferred the technologies that were inside in the appliances, like the combi cooking and you know the option of a steam oven as well if you want to cook with steam.
And actually, there's a brilliant comment there. Just a huge aga fan and owner, and just to be aware that agas can overheat rooms during the warmer months, and it's so true, well, especially now where insulation and building regs mean that everything is super insulated. That can be a real issue.
Well, as I said, I grew up in a drafty old house, so it was
ideal.
So it was always on. But in actual fact, a lot of people who are designing kitchens and want an aga, they end up buying an oven as well to back it up, a single oven to back it up, because effectively you turn the aga off during the summertime, so you have the backup. And when you turn an aga on again, you don't turn it on and fire in a pizza or whatever. It takes a long couple of hours to kind of come up to temperature. But again, we must bear in mind the newer, more modern agas would have more sensitive control settings on them, where you can turn them into slumber, turn them down to slumber mode during the day and all the rest. But that person is right; it does generate heat, and if you have a passive house that's retaining the natural heat from light, it'll be very warm.
It would indeed. Yeah, no, fabulous. Brilliant. Well, Cyril, thank you so much. Oh, one other thing you really want to talk about was waste disposal units, because again, we get a lot of questions, a lot of nervousness, perhaps. But maybe you'd chat about that a little bit.
Yeah. So look, the thing about waste disposal, again, I have one. I'm the proud owner of one. I suppose I have to say, if I'm in the house 10 years, so if anything ever happened to it, I definitely replace it again, because we're all so used to it. As I said, the safety point of view is I have the kids there, so there's no issue with that. But this thing, when you're finished your meal, or what's left of the meal, or the meal you didn't eat yesterday, which tends to happen a lot, that's left in the fridge, or the cake or whatever, you just simply turn on the waste disposal unit. It hangs out of obviously the bowl, the main bowl. It can hang out of the main bowl or the half bowl. So if you just have one bowl in your kitchen, because a lot of people are moving away from the bowl and a half, just to one bigger bowl. So it can hang out of the main bowl. You turn on the water, turn on the waste disposal unit, you feed it down, and then it just basically mulches it up very, very finely, and it just goes out with the mains waste wherever the mains waste goes. And Denise, they vary in price from €240 up to €700, depending what you want. But something, the €240 one works
fine. It tends to take more wet foods, sloppier foods like pastas, bologneses. I know we eat a lot of that. Whereas when you kind of go up the scales, it would also take like light chicken bones and stuff like that down.
Okay.
Whereas Whereas when you kind of go up the range, you get ones that would take the likes of a kernel of a corn in the cob or something like that, you know.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I went for a mid one. I think the one I have is around I'm going to say $3.99 an IC65, and it does everything and more that we need. And again, there's no smells in the kitchen. There's no waste food or stuff in the kitchen, you know. So and I suppose the whole thing is the journey of like deciding what do you want, because people have different requirements. Because some people wouldn't necessarily use an oven a lot. So I'd say to them, if you don't cook much in the oven, maybe spend a little more and go for the induction hob over a regular ceramic hob. If you do that, if you do a lot of baking, invest it into the oven. Get a conventional oven built into the fan oven. Get a pyro clean for the cleaning. If the budget allows it, maybe look away from going from a simple double oven. A lot of people just simply buy double ovens because that's what they had before and that's what the family had before them. Whereas now you can go for a single oven with something like a combi above it. That allows you to combi cook and gives you quicker, good tasting results faster. I like that too with the extractors and the hobs as well. Kind of looking around what suits, you know. Whereas we say the Nikola Tesla Prime, that's €1,800 retail. It's really good value, because if you were to look at a ceiling hood, they're €800, and say a 77 centimeter induction hob, I think is about $599. So you're up at about $1,300. So in my view, a good investment in there would be to go for the combi, the Nikola Tesla, for the few extra quid, you know.
No, and, great. And great advice just to look at your lifestyle and, you know, let that help you decide where to prioritize and where to invest a little bit more. And you will reap the rewards. There's no doubt about it now with the way appliances have gone. So
and you're building for the future. And actually we do we have Wi-Fi connectivity kind of coming on. I don't know if it'll work in this house.
So because it's the passive house. So, that was the problem. You're so well insulated, I think, is the issue.
so the theory is that you can turn on your oven remotely from wherever you are, you know. You can check your dishwasher, you can check the energy it's using. You could be in another room and the phone will tell you the dishwasher is finished. So these technologies are kind of coming through. So they're fairly new. They're new on board. I'd say younger people would probably embrace these technologies. But again, they're all available to view in our showrooms as well. So it's definitely worth getting into our showrooms to have a look.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd highly encourage you to do it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if people are doing a new home and they're staycationing in Ireland and they're building around Ireland, a good day trip is to KAL.
Yeah, definitely.
Those appliances. You can't buy office. We have a network of retailers, electrical and kitchen. We deal with most major kitchen retailers around Ireland as well.
Okay, that's fantastic. So yeah, most of the kitchen companies will be able to order through you guys.
Absolutely, yeah. So we invite people to come in. We'll give them the price. We have there's a team of people in there. They'll give you all the practical advice that you need. You can see all the products, all the colors as well. That was the thing. Like we do the Dietrich brand, and what's again is fast becoming a hero color is this absolute black. So it's kind of a charcoal black, and it has a little nod of copper in it, and customers are loving it. It's very current. Now the kitchen colours seem to be going a little bit darker. It just fits in so beautifully with it. So all those colours are available to come in and look at in person as well. So if a customer has a door sample or a worktop to sample, bring it along, put them up to the appliances, sinks, taps, and choose right. You know.
Yeah. No. Makes a big difference. Huge difference. Brilliant. Well, Cyril, thank you so much. There's so much more we could cover. We'll probably have to invite you back again and do another session. But thank you so much for your time today. And no also problem. Thanks to KAL for the very generous prize, that wonderful KitchenAid mixer. So I'll put details of how people can win that after this. But thanks so much, Cyril. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
No problem. Good stuff. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.